You are the chosen one. It was said you would destroy the Sith, not join them. Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness. Super ridiculously easy. I want... you spoke too soon. I want the full title of the movie. Full title of the movie. Okay, there we go. Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. Okay. Boss baby.
Boss baby. Who said boss baby?
Year Valley said boss baby.
Who?
Year Valley. That's his name. He says he's been to the stream before. Is this the first time that he have followed?
Boss baby.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. It was a super easy one. I mean, it wasn't... I mean, because you say Sis writing a quote. Is this... I like that part in the movie. Here, okay, so... let's just talk really quick about Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, right? Here's my problem with it. So, you know how they make a big deal, even in this quote, they say, you know, Anakin is the one who's going to bring balance to the Force, right? Balance it out. Here's what does not make sense. Up until that point, every 99% of Jedis were good. There was just the Emperor, who no one knew was going to be the Emperor yet, who was actually evil, right? Him and Darth Maul. So if 99% of your population is good guys, and you're saying there's going to be this dude who's going to be born, who's going to bring balance to it, why the Sam hell would you think he was also going to be a good guy? To balance it, wouldn't he need to be a bad guy? Like, I mean, I never got that, the logic behind that. Like, I mean, I'm surprised, like, Yoda is supposed to be smart. Obi-Wan's supposed to be smart. Like, they're sitting up in the Jedi Council like, dude, this guy's going to come. He's going to balance this out. Think about that, right? Think about it, because you're sitting in a group with all good guys, and you've got nothing going on. Nothing's happening. Like, no, honestly, think about it. Nothing's happening. You had the Clone Wars that happened, which had nothing to do with Jedi. It was like, you had a bunch of, the Empire had clones. That's what they're using to create them. But there weren't like bad Sith running around. There was one bad dude. Two if you count Darth Maul. That's it. That's all there was. That's it. So you're sitting there in your Jedi Council, you're like, dude, we need balance, man. And what someone's like, yeah, dude, there's going to be a guy who's going to balance us. You're like, all right, balance. And he's born, he's like, hey, he's here. And still, you're sitting around yourself, all good guys, and you expect him to be a good guy. Like, I don't get the logic in that whole series on that. He was going to be evil. Like, it was going to happen. Like, I mean, I seriously, and what balance? You guys were the top of the food chain. Like, the Jedi were the top. There was just nothing better. Like, anytime back then in the Clone Wars, they had trouble. What'd they do? They threw in a Jedi. They won. That's just how it went. They were the top of the food chain. Like, what more did they need? Like, I still don't understand the rationale. And don't get me started on metachlorians. Oh, my God. What's this metachlorian count? Honestly, when I heard that, no, metachlorians. What the, oh, my God. Some things you don't have to explain, guys. Some things you just do not freaking have to explain. Like, really. Like, so here's George Lucas. George Lucas is like, we've got one of the most successful franchises in freaking history. This thing is made across every platform, across games, across movies, across merchandising. I've got this super strong, mega powerhouse of a franchise that I'm later going to sell for a ridiculous amount of money to Disney, right? That's you. And you're making Star Wars Episode 1, and you think to yourself, I need to explain the Force. They got bugs in their blood. What you think? Who signed off on that? Like, who thought that was a good idea? But wait, he wasn't done. So he's like, all right, so we got bugs in the blood. Okay, that's what helps them with the Force, right? The more bugs they have in their blood, the better they're going to control the Force. And they were like, genius. I mean, and everyone jumped on it, right? Then they're like, you know what we really don't have in Star Wars? We don't have comedy relief. Let's get a movie with the most annoying character ever invented in creation and throw him in there for 99.9% of the movie. Like, and we'll call him Jar Jar. Like, they didn't even come up with a decent name. I think what happened was they were in a session, right? And one of those dudes, you know those old whiskey jars, mason jars. They were sipping whiskey from mason jars. And they're like, dude, I feel so good in this meeting. I love you. And they're like, oh. And so that went on for like 6 hours, right? But now everybody is like nervous. They're like, oh, crap. We've been drinking whiskey out of mason jars for 6 hours. And George is about to come in. We need a name for this character. So the guy takes the last drink of his whiskey. He's like, Jar Jar. And they're like, yes! And they start crying, and people were like, it's so beautiful. And then George Lucas walks in. His ass is high as F. He's like, oh, guys, what's up? They're like, Jar Jar. He's like, yes, Jar Jar. They all like start high-fiving everybody. Yeah, freaking Steven Spielberg comes in. He's high as a kite, too. He's like, Jar Jar. Yes. Freaking Harrison Ford drops in from the ceiling. He's like, God dang it, I heard it's going to be Jar Jar. And that's, people, how we got Star Wars Episode 1. Like, seriously. I think every single one of those suckers involved in that were high as a kite. Jar Jar. But wait. It wasn't just Jar Jar. Like, so after that session, right, everybody's happy. Everybody's good. They got Jar Jar. They got bugs in the blood, which gives you the ability to control the Force. So they got all that, right? But something was missing. George Lucas is shooting this, and he's like, you know what? We've got bugs. We've got Jar Jar. But it feels incomplete. How do we wrap it all together? How do we... And I think this is how it happened. So what happened is, George is there. One of the camera guys, right? One of the camera guys has a baby. The baby, like, starts to cry, and it's supposed to be, like, quiet on a set. So he's like, oh, sorry, let me put in the baby's Binky. And George goes, oh, my God, Binky. He's Jar Jar Binks. That's how it happened. Jar Jar Binks. And that's how we got... Like, why did he have to have a last name? His first name was ridiculous enough. Like, Jar Jar Binks. Misa say we gonna go somewhere? Oh my God. Misa say you is dumb as F, man. I'm sorry. Like, honestly, like, Star Wars Episode 1 was the Star Wars equivalent of, I don't know. It was just bad on so many levels. Here, I'm gonna give you the tip on how to watch Star Wars Episode 1 properly. Because so why I have to do this is because there's like, you ever go to a super fancy restaurant? Like, I don't go very often because I don't like spending $300 for something I'm gonna poop out 3 hours later, right? That's why I do not go to expensive restaurants. But every anniversary, me and my wife pick a super overpriced restaurant, and we go there, and we enjoy $300 food that we then poop out 3 hours later, right? We do it. So when you go to these and you haven't been, be honest with them, because every single one I've been to, me and my wife are always, hey, we don't do this often, but this is what we want, and they'll make great suggestions, and when the food comes out, they will tell you how to enjoy the food, because if you eat it, like, in a certain order, or if you eat it wrong, it's not going to have that same... that what the artist intended for you, like the chef. Because I think I cook, and being a good cook, there is some artistry involved. There is. So that's what I'm telling you. In order to enjoy Episode 1 as George Lucas intended it, this is what you have to do. You take the hour and 45 minutes of absolute horse sugar honey iced tea, you cut it all out, you watch the last 20 minutes of the lightsaber fight and the space fight, and then you just watched an excellent Star Wars movie, and you saved yourself an hour and 45 minutes of absolute ass hattery, because if you watch all that, you're not enjoying the movie the way it was meant to. I'll tell you the exact point where you stop it. So when Natalie Portman and they're going to the the space dock, right? And then the thing lifts up. When the thing starts to lift up, from that point you start watching. Then you're gonna hear they're gonna cue Duel of the Fates, and you're gonna have a freaking amazing time for 20 minutes. And that's all you need to know about that movie. That's it. Everything that came before that is you know when you use the restroom and you wipe and you throw the towels and all that stuff in there? Everything before that point is what's left in the restroom after you wipe and throw the towels in there. That's why I just saved you and educated you on how to properly enjoy Star Wars Episode 1. Now, when you do that, I want you to go watch that movie. Watch it the way it was meant to be seen. I guarantee you're going to come back to the stream and think, wow, Val, that was a good movie. I just needed to know how to properly enjoy it. So you are welcome, chat. Like, I mean, it's just... here's the thing. Like, this is a true story. When I was a kid, we honestly, I'm not even making this up. I wish I could prove it to you, but I don't have it anymore to be able to show you. When I was a kid, we actually had a mini projector. We had 3 movies on that mini projector. We had Charlotte's Web. We had Song of the South, which, if you don't know, look up Song of the South. Song of the South is quite possibly the most racist thing you have ever seen in your life from Disney. No, honestly, that's not a joke. I didn't understand that as a kid, but I thought it was actually entertaining as a kid. But now that I'm older, Song of the South is extremely racist. But we had Song of the South and Star Wars. No joke. I grew up and we had one of those the things where it's like a pole and you extend it like this, right? And then you pull the things out and then you drag it up and it's that white screen. We had one of those, and so we'd set it up we watched Star Wars a lot because it's all we had, right? So my dad would wind it up, and we'd watch. I grew up watching Star Wars like that. That's how, and it meant, dude, I cannot tell you how many times me and my brother would watch that, and we'd pretend like we're the characters, right? So we're doing this, and I'm like, and I grew up with it. So then my dad goes off to the Army, and so how, you guys know, I've said this millions of times, how my mom spent time with us is we would go see movies. Okay, that's what we would do. We would go see movies. So we go see Empire Strikes Back comes on. Obviously, I am freaking ecstatic, dude. I am ecstatic. Like, my body literally is emotionally, and puberty started for me when I heard Empire Strikes Back was in a theater. That is how powerful Star Wars. It triggered a physiological and chemical change in my body. That is documented fact. That is how important Empire Strikes Back was. So we go to Empire Strikes Back. My voice starts doing the whole, because you're going through puberty, right? So that's happening. That's happening. I'm in the theater watching Empire Strikes Back. So we get to that freaking awesome lightsaber fight between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. Because, he goes to Cloud City. Because Luke is a typical kid. Like, here's the thing. As a kid, I 100% got what Luke was saying. What did Yoda know? Yoda didn't know anything. He had to go help his crew. Damn the consequences. Yoda was the old guy. As a kid, I'm like, what's this old fart? No, there is, my boys are in trouble. And you telling me to sit up here drinking Darjeeling with you when my boys are getting tortured? How are you okay with this? I'm like, hell yes, I'm going to Cloud City. So Luke's at Cloud City. Luke is just like kicking butt. And I'm as a kid, I'm literally like, holy crap, this is going down. Luke is gonna actually just freaking, Luke is gonna destroy Darth Vader, right? He's just gonna wreck Darth Vader on a level that hasn't been since God smote the bad guys in the Ten Commandments. That's how bad Luke is gonna work Darth Vader. But it doesn't work out that way, right? I'm young. Luke was young. Yoda was right. I know that now as an adult. Yoda was right. But as a kid, me and Luke, we were like, I'm like, I got you, Luke. I know what's up. Go do what you got to do, partner. But he lost, right? And so Luke ain't got no arm. I'm devastated. I'm like, how could Darth Vader have beaten Luke? What is going on? Like, my world doesn't make sense. And then Darth Vader doesn't finish him. Darth Vader goes into a monologue about, dude, do you know what happened to your dad? He's like, yeah, you killed him. He's like, I am your father. Like, holy crap. My testicles literally dropped at that moment. I had full-on man voice at that very point. This is how pivotal that movie was to me. Like, this is what I grew up. I'm like, I walk out of the theater. Up is down and down is up. Like, my mind was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, I didn't know what to think about anything. I didn't know. Like, how could he be his dad? What is this craziness that it's just not possible, right? So then we go into the Return of the Jedi. Like, I'm a full man. I got a beard at this point, right? And I'm like, my life is about to be changed by Return of the Jedi. We're gonna find out some stuff, right? Now I'm wiser, right? I've been wiser. Me and Luke, we both saw things wrong going to Cloud City, but now we're in Return of the Jedi, and we're like, okay, this is we learned a lot. We know we can't just do whatever we want. We got to think about this. And Luke had a plan. And I'm like, dude, your plan is balls. And then I'm like, everything just falls into place. We get rid of Boba Fett. I mean, it's like, oh, dude. Things just work out, right? And then, of course, because we made a mistake, right? We went to go attack Cloud City. So we had to go back to Yoda. I get this. Like, even then I understood. Because, like, when you're a parent, right? When you're a parent like I am, your kids do dumb kid things 99.9% of their life. They do. When they are 40 years old, your kids still do dumb, stupid kid things. And you understand that because you see it. But to your kids, it makes sense, right? But as a parent, you're like, all right. Now, there's a beautiful moment. There's a beautiful moment in parenting. It's like chocolate. I don't like chocolate, so no, scratch chocolate. It's like cheesecake wrapped in a macadamia nut cookie, dipped in the most luxurious, smoothest of white chocolates, and fried ever so slightly. And when you bite it, it's like it hits your mouth and tongue, and it just does this. It goes, and it just, instinctively you just smile. That moment is when your kid comes to you and says, Mom, Dad, you were right. Holy, in your head, cue Queen, we are the champions, my friend. Like, it's like, you understand, right? So, because as an adult, I understood that, and I was growing, right? Remember, I'm growing with Star Wars, right? As an adult, I understood that. I understood why. I understood why Luke had to go back to Dagobah to make it right with Yoda. He was telling Yoda, you were right. That's what he was saying. And then once Luke accepted that he was right, that's when Yoda's like, all right, bruh, now that we're on the same page, you got to take down Vader. And then Luke, again, he just couldn't deal with it, right? Luke couldn't. He's like, dude, I can't kill him because you're telling me he's my dad. I can't. You're asking me to kill my dad. What's up? I can't do that, right? So Yoda goes on and says, well, if you can't do it, there's another one. But he doesn't get to say who the other one is, right? So I got that, right? So me and Luke were growing. I'm understanding. I'm like, I'm agreeing with Luke, dude. I couldn't take down my dad either. What do we do? Me and Luke were in a situation. In order for him to progress, which helps me progress through life, because remember, my physiological changes, my understanding of the freaking universe is really based on this, right? So I'm puzzling this out, and then Obi-Wan shows up and Jedi goes for him. He's like, yeah, there's another. It's your sister. It's Leia. Now, when he said your sister is Leia, I had some problems, right? I had some problems because let's jump back to younger Val, right? Younger Val doesn't know anything. He's watching Star Wars on his projector. He sees a dude making out with a chick. He's like, yeah, go, bro. Kiss that chick. Good job. Now, we fast forward a couple of years. Now I have to wrestle with the fact I just cheered a dude on who was making out with his sister. What the actual F? Like, holy crap. How do you get an audience to cheer on a dude hooking up with the chick, or making out with the chick, excuse me, and then later say, hey, viewers, all you suckers that cheered, that was his sister. Happy birthday. So I'm struggling with this, like, and Luke is taking it phenomenally well. He's like, Leia's my sister. Not, oh my God, I know what her tongue tastes like. I mean, that would have been my first reaction, right? Me personally. That would have been my first reaction. Like, I made out with my sister. Oh my God. And then, I honestly, truth, I would have popped my lightsaber and tried to cut that son of a bitch down right then. Because that would have been good information for me to have before I tried to make out with my sister. I mean, come on. It's like, anyway. So we get that, right? So we get through this. Me and Luke, he comes to terms with it. He comes to terms with it a lot easier than I came to terms with it. But I got over it, right? So now Luke's plan is, I'm just going to go to my dad. I know my dad's a good guy, right? I know he is. I'm going to appeal to my dad's good guyness, right? And I'm thinking, that makes sense. Because, come on, I'm a dad. There's a strong bond between me and my kids, right? If I'm off the deep end, if there's anyone who's going to be able to pull me back, it's going to be my kids. Or my wife, right? So I'm good with this, right? So anyway, he goes, he talks. We get into the lightsaber battle, which, by the way, one of the greatest lightsaber battles in history happens in Return of the... So many great lightsaber fights in the Star Wars series. So anyway, so we get to the lightsaber fight. Luke says, I have to... I need to kill this guy. But he can't do the killing blow, and he realizes... His dad took his hand. He took his dad's hand. So the scales have been balanced. He had overcome, right? So he had defeated him. Yoda never said kill him, and that's what me and Luke didn't understand until that point. He didn't have to kill him. He just had to overcome. And he did. So he realizes, I don't have to kill my dad. I'm a Jedi. So now the Emperor's pissed, right? The Emperor's like, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. Like, you got to die now because you ain't about to be no super-powered Saiyan thing that's going to overtake me. So he's doing his thing, right? He's like, Luke is in pain. I'm like, wait a minute. Are we really about to sit up here and the bad guys are about to win? Like, I'm like, my mind can't comprehend because Luke's just like there, like lightning's all crackling in him. You know what? I honestly think it smells like cracklings. Have you guys ever had cracklings? I'm thinking that's probably what Luke smelled like. Here's another little thing. He took all that lightning, right? Brother didn't have one scorch mark on him. You think with that much lightning going through somebody, his face will look like a freaking intersection of a map. It'd be like, all right, we got like Park Place right here. Oh, look, that goes all the way down to B&O Railroad, which wraps around right here. And we got like Connecticut Avenue. You'd think that's how someone would look. But nah, he didn't look like that. I still don't understand why, but we're going to just forget about that. So anyway, Brother Man's getting electrocuted. I can feel like me regressing because my physiological everything growing up is based on Star Wars. And now I'm watching the brother get turned into a crispy critter. I don't know what to think, man. I'm like, something's got to happen. Something's got to change. So Dad finally... It breaks through, right? Dad picks him up, throws him, scene. And Luke's like, you saved me, but you gonna die, Dad. And he's like, oh, you my boy. I love you, man. You was right about me. Tell your sister you're right. End of the movie. So, I had started Star Wars on a projector in my freaking home watching that's true story. We had the reel for Star Wars. That's how I grew up watching Star Wars, right? And I matured into the man I would become watching Return of the Jedi, okay? Now I wait years I wait for George Lucas to pick up the reins and say, Russ, I am ready once more to help you grow as a person, to help you, like, Star Wars did many things. It deepened my voice. It started puberty. My balls dropped watching it. Like, it was just a key part of my transformation into a man. So I'm waiting for George Lucas to kickstart that train again. I get the announcement, episode 1 is coming. It's coming. I'm like, Then he says, hold up, not so fast. It's a prequel. And I'm like, okay. I can see the first one was about the redemption of Anakin Skywalker. I can watch a prequel about the fall of Anakin Skywalker. I'm like, all right, I can do this. Let's go, George. I'm ready for you to help me grow as a person. I wait all that time. I sit in that theater. This is an actual... Everything is true. When episode 1 came out, I was living in Pennsylvania. My wife was pregnant with our second child. She was pregnant with our second child. And I stood in the rain. I wish she was here. She would tell you. I stood in the rain for 3 hours. The line was around the theater. In the line. 3 hours I stood in that line. And then about 20 minutes when they opened the door, I waved my wife over because she could see me from the car. I'm like, hey, baby, we're going in. You know, my pregnant wife gets out of the car. You know, she comes. She didn't stay the whole time, guys. I was in line. She came about 30 minutes right before we went in, you know, because I was like, well, baby, they said they're going to start lining up, so come on down. She got there about 30 minutes. I said, but stay in the car. It's raining. You know, you're pregnant. So I go in there. And I sit down to watch episode 1, which brings us back to the beginning. Now, I just told you how to properly watch episode 1, which is you got to cut out 1 hour and 45 minutes of the movie to properly enjoy it. 1 hour and 45 minutes. You start that movie right, again, just to recue it for anyone that's new. I don't know if new people have joined, but if you're new, when you're watching episode 1, you start when they're going to the hangar bay. As you see the hangar bay start to roll up, right? The hangar bay rolls up and they start to cue Duel of the Fates. That is when you start watching the movie. Okay, that's when. So in order to enjoy it, a life-changing movie series that changed my life, you have to start 1 hour and 45 minutes into it and only watch 20 minutes to watch one of the greatest Star Wars movies ever. Of course, only 20 minutes of it, but you're really going to enjoy it. So I'm standing 3 hours for the initial taste. To savor this meal, this delicate feast that George Lucas has brought to me to help my progression as a human being. 3 hours in the frickin' rain. I sit down. Now, my wife tells me this happened. I don't know how true it is, but they cue the, the Star Wars, dun, 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 ba, 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 ba. My wife says our baby was going nuts inside of her. Let me think about Star Wars affected me so much. My pregnant wife, the DNA, my Star Wars laced DNA, my unborn child recognized, had a physical reaction to it just like me. Just like he had a physical freaking... She said he started going crazy. She could feel him like moving around and kicking and all that stuff as the music. I'm like, that is 100% my boy. I know how he felt because going back, I watched Star Wars on a reel in my home and I had the same reaction. It triggered physical responses in me too. Now I know my kid is having that same response. And I sit through 1 hour, 45 minutes of the biggest stinking pile of human feces that anyone could have possibly have sat through. And just when my hopes are low and my son's no longer kicking at this point anymore. He doesn't know how to feel anymore. So now I'm like, what do I do? Did I just ruin Star Wars for my unborn child? Right? I don't know. Then that hangar bay door rolls up and you hear dun dun. Actually, I'll tell you. You know what? We're gonna hear. This is what you hear. This is exactly what you hear. Let me tell you what you hear. Let's kill this right now. Just shut up. You just shut up. All right. This is what you hear. Where is it? Oh, stupid iTunes. Gosh dang it. iTunes does not automatically assign audio output like when you run it. Like this is so again, remember, we're in a theater. My kid is he's disappointed, I know, because he started responding. But an hour 45 minutes into it, right? You hear the door roll up and you hear this. Yes. You hear this. This, my kid came alive when you hear this. This is when it gets good. Oh, yeah. When you hear this, you hear that door roll up. Ooh. And then this music just cues. Oh, yeah. And you see, what's his name? You see Qui-Gon say, y'all take off. We got this. He takes off his robe. It's like, oh my goodness. Oh, and then, my friends, for 20 minutes, you are treated to an epic showdown of good versus evil. And at that moment, George Lucas fulfilled his promise. And my boy, became a lifelong Star Wars fan. And that's why I really like Star Wars. And that is why I just really like Star Wars. So, it's good times. It was good times. Anyway, Val, can you repeat the start, please? Oh, I actually, we were just talking about Star Wars and how I grew up. It's good stuff. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Rising. How you doing, man? But that's why I really like Star Wars. It's really good. So I guess I should catch up with chat. Honestly, to me, it didn't feel like that long. To me, it didn't feel like that long at all. This is what is known as a Super Saiyan Valance that has ascended past a Super Saiyan. Oh my goodness. All right, I guess I better catch up with chat. Did someone ask a DAC? Oh, here's your host. Actually, your host is the last thing I can see. So you said he's blinded by Rant. He's powering up to Super Ranter. Oh, God. This is great. Can you even clip a rant this long? I guess it was a long time. Thanks for the host, Rising. Val is stuck in a rant at the moment. What's Ultra Instinct? I don't know what Ultra Instinct is. Do we take turns in clipping? I think that's the only way to get the whole rant. How does he do this? It's going on 15 to 20 minutes. Oh my god. I really did rant for that long? I assume that you had the same reaction to Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey came out 10 years later. No, I actually liked Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Because it was different. Star Wars was life-changing. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey was just fun, mindless things. It didn't change my life. Star Wars changed my life. And we got from Star Wars to where we are at now. Valance, I missed the first part. Can you please explain that again? No. Little Dad, you'll regret it. Spoiler alert. But if you're Luke, I think Luke is Val. That's the moral of the story. Space ancestors. Does he even breathe while doing this? Did I just continually keep going? I didn't breathe. Honestly, it didn't feel like that long, so I didn't feel like I needed to stop to breathe. Yeah, and it was his twin sister. Very good point, Anonymous. He must have gills. It didn't feel like that long, Smitty. It really didn't. I swear, to me, it was like 5 minutes. He made out with half of himself. Yeah, really.
He made out
kissing chicks, popping lightsabers. Dang. Oh, damn, I thought it was done. I missed the first part. Who forced him into this? The gray-haired fox. It was a trivia question, so he started. Was it a trivia question?
Yeah, it was.
It was? Okay. Who asked it? He did. One of his movie self-inflicted rant. So is this how Jar Jar Binks became a Sith? Has anyone told Val that Star Wars is not real? Yes, I'm aware that Star Wars is not. My son thinks that one's really funny.
Has anyone told Val Star Wars is not real?
Especially while I watch Star Wars. What order would you recommend my wife watch a Star Wars movie since she hasn't seen any? I would watch the original, of course, 4, 5, and 6. And then just, 1, 2, and 3. I mean, really. And then, you know what? Actually, no. Do it, yes, because you saved the best for last. So do it, Force Awakens, the other one. But you don't have the third one to finish it off, though. That's the problem. All of those autonomous actions.
How do you know?
You told us a lot of stuff, Val. A lot like this story, really. The world comes full circle. It's super serious because he hasn't hit replay. That reminds me, I need to hit replay while I read this. This is all so much to remember. Well, and I thought Dank got fired up playing a 5. She's got nothing on Val talking Star Wars. You're supposed to be taking notes. I love that you're supposed to be taking notes. Rising, I can't even remember if it can't stand. Oh, Dougie Doug, you don't like Star Wars? How do you not like Star Wars? Minsanity, I don't blame you for not being able to finish episode 1. Major was 7-year-old. She lived through all this stuff she taught us. Oh, that's pretty awesome. Maybe we're all just watching a movie right now and he's just chilling on the couch with a cold beer. Val's story with sounds. What have I done? He's gone off his... Is he done? He broke him. No, this is the intermediate. Do we at least get a 5-minute break? That's the best comment so far. Do we get a 5-minute break? Nice. No pee breaks. Val, can we have a 5 to 10 minute break? I'm sorry I missed that. It didn't feel like that long. We don't get breaks, but Val is broken. No fair. Val is getting ready. So ready. Getting ready for what, Ivy? Val, can you repeat the start? Don't make me hate you.
What did it say?
Oh, my goodness. Makes sense now. Didn't catch the Star Wars connection? Okay,
Yeah.
good. Huh?
Did that one say?
Which one?
Don't make me...
Oh, don't make me hate you.
Oh.
Because he asked me to start all over. Okay. All right, there. We're talking about the host. Okay, there we are.